400 kilograms of meat on hooves. That is how much an adult musk ox weighs. The meat of this animal is enough to feed an entire Arctic village. But obtaining it is nothing like taking meat out of a freezer. It hides skillfully, is always alert, and incredibly resilient. To find its tracks, skill alone is not enough. Experience, patience, and luck are required. That is why we leave the village before dawn. The snow creaks under our feet. Beside me are two hunters, Akik and Mixer. It is. The wind nips at my face, but they seem not to notice the cold. Suddenly, Akik stops and points at the snow. A musk ox track. From yesterday, I look and see only a few indentations. To me, they mean nothing. But to them, these are not just indentations. Every track is a clue. They know with certainty which direction the musk ox went. I realize that all my life I have been walking past such tracks without seeing any meaning in them. We continue following the trail, crossing the tundra. Our breath freezes in the air, leaving clouds of frost. Every few hundred meters, Mixer drops to one knee and examines the surface. Fresh, he says. A new layer on top. I only nod, trying not to fall behind. Do you hear it? Akik suddenly stops. I listen, cawing somewhere ahead. Ravens, he explains. If they are here, it means the prey is nearby too. They always stay close to food. Black silhouettes circle in the sky. This is ancient navigation. Instead of satellite signals, we read the language of birds. As we walk, Mixer points to the terrain and explains why musk oxen like this valley. It is calm here. The northern wind does not pass through the rises, and even in a strong blizzard, it is easier for the animals to survive. He points to stones covered with dark marks. This is where they sharpen their horns. I decide to check the wind the old-fashioned way. I moisten my finger and raise it. Akik smirks. My finger is instantly disqualified by a man who feels the wind with his skin. About an hour later, we climb a hill. Mixer crouches and takes out his binoculars. There they are, three figures against the white background. About 700 meters between us. They look as if someone breathed life into old fur coats and let them wander off, massive, shaggy, calm. Two females and one male, Akik whispers. The male is large, 400 kilograms. They look like armored vehicles. Slowly, they dig through the snow, searching for dry grass. Relaxed, Mixer adds. See, they keep eating. I nod. In their place, I would do the same in front of a hot pizza. The hunters exchange glances and begin to discuss the approach. Without words, only gestures. A hand points left, a head nods in response. Silence. We'll go around from that side, Akik says quietly. We'll drop into the hollow, then come out from behind those rocks. It is a coordinated operation. No sounds, no words, only movements honed over years. The wind suddenly shifts. We're lucky, Mixer notes. They won't hear us. My nose has long since lost all feeling. But these two read the wind with their skin. While we prepare, the musk oxen continue digging through the snow. as if the rest of the world does not exist. Akik commands quietly. We start with the main thing. The rifles lie in front of us. Smooth, reliable, made not for ducks, but for an animal weighing half a ton. There is no room for mistakes here. Mixer runs his finger along the barrel, checks the scope, clicks the bolt. He says, patting the stock. It will do for a musk ox. Even though everything I know about weapons comes from action movies, these rifles are single-shot but powerful, valued for accuracy and penetration. Musk oxen have thick skulls, and their fur absorbs the energy of the shot. A mistake means the end of the hunt. Then come the knives. Not pocket knives, but serious blades that command respect. Mixer shows his. Slightly curved, with a handle made of bone. His grandfather made it. The blade is so sharp that it can be used for shaving. Now the sleds. The Chromatic looks as if it has survived the ice ages, but this is precise calculation. The runners are made of bone. All the joints are held together with straps of marine animal skin. Not a single nail, not a drop of glue. Everything bends and works. An Arctic pickup truck without an engine. The ropes are made from twisted walrus hide, tight like tendons. Akik says one rope can hold a quarter of the carcass. I believe it could hold even more. But what impresses me most is the hunter's clothing. Next to them, I looked as if I had just stepped out to buy bread. My jacket was a beach cover-up. Their parkas are armour. Mittens made of seal fur reach up to the elbows. Boots look as if they were sewn from all the animals of the Arctic at once. The outer parka is so voluminous that it could cover the entire floor of an apartment. The hunters also carry tools. One of them frightened me at first. It looked like an instrument of torture. Long, heavy, with teeth. It is a bone saw, a serious tool. It cuts bones as thick as a baseball bat. Akik shows how to apply pressure properly so it does not get stuck. Then the smaller items, horn scrapers, sharp as needles, containers made of walrus bone. Each item has its own task. This is not just equipment. It is a surgical kit for a carcass weighing 400 kilograms. Only here, no one lays the patient on a table. Each hunter carries a total of 20 to 30 kilograms. Rifle, knives, saws, ropes, clothing. All of this at -30. Every knot is checked by hand. Fastenings, tension, blade sharpness. This is preparation for an operation where a mistake means the end. If a sled falls apart or a knife goes dull in the field, the carcass will freeze, and instead of meat, there will be ice. But more important than any tool is their experience. They learn from childhood from their fathers, who learned from their own fathers. Here, every movement is automatic. They know what will be needed, when and where it should be, because forgetting something here is dangerous. The sun rises. We begin to move forward, using every snowdrift as cover. The hunters motion for me to follow. I try, but I feel awkward next to them. Fortunately, musk oxen have poor eyesight. Our ally is the wind. It carries our scent away from the herd. We creep along the ridge, closing the distance meter by meter. My knees ache, but the hunters glide like ghosts. Soft steps, almost a dance. I place my feet in their tracks. The sound almost disappears. From time to time we look at the animals. They are still eating. Good Musk oxen can stand for hours, carefully digging grass out from under the snow. They are completely focused on eating, as if the rest of the world does not exist. Sunlight slides along his horns like on polished metal, but his coat is a whole story. The stiff guard hairs on top protect against the wind. Beneath them is a soft, dense undercoat that is several times warmer than sheep's wool. One of the females becomes alert and stops eating. We turn into statues. Half a minute of silence. Then she slowly lowers her head and returns to eating. The hunters exchange glances. A barely noticeable nod, and we continue. They have their own language. One finger raised means we stand still. A gesture to the side means we change position. No words, only signals. We move closer. Now the sounds are audible hooves, scraping the snow, a quiet snorting. At this distance, the male looks even larger. This is not just an animal, it is a fortress on 4 legs. The shoulders are pure muscle. The head is enormous, like a tank. He stands motionless, like a living fort. The tension grows with every step. The hunters silently spread out, setting up angles of fire. The main thing is not to interfere with each other, not to cross lines of fire. One mistake means the end. The wind changes direction. We freeze. If it blows the wrong way, our scent will carry to them, then everything is over. Although these animals look like a sack of hay on legs, they have survived in the Arctic for thousands of years. This is not a hunt for one. It is the management of group behavior. They are social animals. If one gets frightened, all of them bolt. That is why the hunters block all their routes of retreat. My role is simple: to stand, stay silent, and not break what they planned. The hunters raise their rifles, freeze, wait. Then an explosion. The shots echo across the ice. The male falls onto his side like a load of stones, but no one runs. Everything happens slowly. There is no loud chaos. The hunters approach cautiously, watching every movement, because a motionless animal is not a guarantee of safety. If it suddenly jumps up, there could be trouble. They check for any movement. They come closer. The place where it fell is ideal, not in a bloody hollow, not on a slope. Good for butchering. Mixer takes out a knife with a bone handle. The first cut runs along the belly. The movements are confident and precise, not touching the internal organs. Because one wrong movement and the meat is ruined, the hide separates smoothly as if it opens itself for him. Everything is done methodically, cut after cut, layer after layer. The hide must remain intact. It will later be made into clothing, boat coverings, and straps. Attention is paid to the internal organs. This is the most important thing in northern conditions. High caloric value, nutrition, energy here, these are means of survival, not luxury. First, the liver. Large, dark, warm to the touch. One of the most valuable organs. Then the heart. Then the kidneys. Each organ is carefully removed and packed. Among the Inuit, there is a simple rule. If it can be preserved, it must be preserved. Then comes the butchering of the carcass. The front shoulders, the hindquarters, the ribs, the chest, and finally, the most tender meat along the spine, the fillet, which is valued above all else. After that, the head and the horns. The horns will be used for tools, scrapers, decorations. The skull is used in rituals or for practical needs. Every element receives a second life. The bones are removed carefully. Large ones for knife handles, small ones for needles and awls. Bone marrow is pure fat, high in calories, easily absorbed, the best fuel in the cold. It is placed in a separate container. From it, they will make oil, fuel for lamps, and waterproofing for clothing. One musk ox provides so much fat that it can light a dwelling for weeks. The hide is also divided by zones. Dense sections go for soles, softer ones for linings. The sinews are pulled out carefully. They will later become extremely strong threads. The hunters work like a single organism. Akik works on one side, Mixer on the other. Not a single unnecessary movement. They have done this hundreds of times. Every movement is in its place. When the last pieces are packed, transportation begins. All this wealth has to be taken home. The komatiks, which earlier seemed sturdy, now look small next to the load. Loading is a strategy. The heaviest pieces go on the bottom, the lighter ones on top. Everything is wrapped in tarpaulin and tightened with straps made of sealskin. Knots are checked several times. The ropes are pulled tight. When we finish, the sky darkens and the wind rises. There is no time to delay. The return trip is 3 hours, but it feels like all 30. The 3 hunters line up, throw the ropes over their shoulders, lean forward and begin to pull. It is a tug of war. Only on the other end there is not an opponent, but meat that is waiting at home. The landscape sets the rules. Where the snow is smooth, we can walk. Where it is hard and uneven, we almost crawl. The runners catch on every bump. In every hollow, the sled has to be adjusted. The rhythm slows, the effort doubles. The temperature drops, evening approaches. Steam rises from the meat on the sleds. It freezes instantly. Everything becomes covered with frost hair, mittens, straps. The only truly frightening thing is the cold, which does not let go for a single moment. Sometimes we stop to drink water, but the cold still seeps into our hands and the fingers go numb. At last, familiar silhouettes appear ahead. A few houses, smoke rising from chimneys. The whiteness is broken for the first time. We are almost home. As soon as the runners creak at the edge of the village, doors open one after another. People come out to meet the hunters. Returning with a musk ox is an event. It is life and a large reserve that brings hope. Children run forward, spreading the news. "A good hunt," says an elderly woman, Uki, approaching the sleds. She looks over the meat with a careful eye. Within minutes, everything comes alive. Women spread tarps on the snow, men set up wooden trestles. The first pieces go to the elders, Akik says quietly. The elders step forward and choose carefully. The best parts, the tender meat along the spine, the ribs. They do not hurry, they choose. Each hunter receives a worthy share. For the family, it is wrapped in cloth, enough for a week. Special attention is given to the bones. One woman takes the wide shoulder blades. 4 drums, she explains. Other families choose long, dense bones. 4 tools, smaller ones for needles and awls. Another family chooses long, dense bones. They will go for tool handles. The smaller ones go to the craftsman. From them will come needles, awls, decorations. Every fragment has its own future. The hide is stretched onto a wooden frame. Several people work together, pulling, fastening, beginning to scrape off the remaining tissue. The air fills with a creaking sound, rhythmic like a special song. One woman smiles at me and says, "It's hard, but warm clothing doesn't sew itself. The fat is passed from hand to hand. It is exchanged for dried fish, bonis dahlia, necessary items." Everything happens easily, by agreement. Everyone watches not only their own share, but also those who have less, so that there is enough for everyone. The tongue receives special attention. The elder cuts it himself. Carefully, unhurriedly, he slices it into pieces and passes them to the most respected families. This is not just a treat, it is a sign of respect, a delicacy, Mixa says quietly, noticing my look. The long bones are split with precision, and there is the bone marrow. It is handed out to the children in bowls, and their eyes shine. One girl shows me what she got, dips her finger into the fat, laughs, and shares it with me. Every part is used here, even the smallest. Strips of meat are hung up to dry, the lungs collected on the spot. Blood is mixed with fat, dried herbs are added, and sausage is made. Children dart among the adults, skillfully slipping between legs, trying to steal an extra piece while no one is watching. Children's resourcefulness is the same everywhere. Only here, the treats are not sweets, but a piece of dried fat or a scrap of meat prepared for drying. Bones, intended for broth, are stacked neatly in a pile near the fire pit in the center of the village. Everyone knows that tomorrow they will turn into a hot stock that will warm them on the coldest days. The sun sinks below the horizon. Its light becomes soft, reddish. And as the shadows stretch across the snow, it becomes clear. The enormous bull we met in the tundra in the morning is now completely transformed into food, future clothing, and tools. Families load their shares onto small sleds. Some carry them on their shoulders, others drag them behind. People disperse to their homes. Each has a week's worth of food, materials for work, resources for exchange. The last thing I notice before darkness finally falls is smoke rising from chimneys. Dinner preparation begins, the silence fills with aromas, and our circle closes. If you want to learn more stories from life in the tundra, subscribe to our channel. Here we tell stories about people whose lives are often hidden from the world's view. Leave a comment and share which moment impressed you the most. Your words help us understand which stories you want next.